We're back at it again. This is Game 7 analysis from the World Chess Championship. Carlsen versus Caruana. And I gotta say, after 7 games, we still have no winner. I'm going to do as I've done. I have to say I got a good comment on YouTube under one of the videos saying that I should really get back to doing opening analysis stuff. And I think that's how I'm going to handle the rest of these games. I'm going to give ideas of what they could have done to make the games more interesting in the opening. So let's go ahead and get started. And first of all, I will say that this line has been in vogue ever since the World Championship match between Carlsen and Anand. And, when there's only like 3 ways black can play, there's not a lot that you need to know in order to maintain equality. How about we get some like Catalan games in here? I harken back to the days of, Kramnik and Topalov in a World Championship match. Those games were nasty, they were messy, and both men were willing to take risks, especially after Toiletgate. They hated each other, refused to shake hands and stuff like that. It's pretty nasty stuff. This is just like no innovation. No real improvements on theory here. But the thing is, the more games that are drawn, the more chance Caruana has of losing. Because when we go to tie breaks, it is well known that Caruana is not the best at blitz and rapid chess. Magnus has a huge edge. So I expect to see some shaking of the tree by Caruana with his game with white that's coming up. All right, so moving along. Now, the other way to play this other than c5 is knight bd7, which has been seen a bunch. After c5, I think the line that is most critical lately has been knight h5, and this position has been seen, you'll see the exact same plan in the other line that I'm going to be mentioning. You play for bishop a6 to get rid of your bad bishop, and you're just fine. And I like to show, if you're interested in playing this solid type system against bishop f4, that's one idea. The other idea after knight bd7, c5, c6 is playing in the way that Carlsen did against Anand, and it didn't turn out too well because of this tactical variation with b5. It was very interesting and essayed from the first World Championship match. There are plenty of games that or plenty of videos that have a deep analysis of this, and what I found was after rook c1, knight e4 was what was played in the game. Knight e8 is a novelty, and I think after castle kingside b3, this hasn't been tried in the Lee Chess database yet, but I think that this is a very interesting position that's worth looking into for black. So coming back to the main game, c5 was played, and this has got to be the most straightforward continuation. If you don't mind having an isolated pawn, this one's got to be for you. So queen c2, and normally a3 instead of queen c2 is the main move, but we transpose here. Queen a5, and now the old main line was castle queenside, and this game is probably why we will not see this in the match. This is a game between Carlsen and Ivanchuk from 2008. So h4, and this already looks more combative than what we've seen, but the harder you push on a locked door, sometimes you just don't get anything done. Knight d2, a6, bishop b2, and already, black has this pawn phalanx gradually moving forward towards white's king, whereas white's attack really hasn't started going. So after g4, he's trying to get his attack going, but bishop e6, knight b3, and after g5, knight e4, I believe the engine was already evaluating this position as better for black by about a pawn and a half. So Carlsen, of course, went on to lose this game, and I won't show you the rest of it because we like to try to keep these videos under 10 minutes, and I think people appreciate that. So we got this line, and Carlsen got his butt handed to him in the main line, so you're going to see him gradually do, just normal-looking moves. So knight d2 happened, then queen d8, and this was starting to get into rare waters. Now, rook d1 had been played in the past, h6, and you get this type of position. This game was played between Kaidanov and Shabalov, and it was the only other game that I was able to find played between two grandmasters. And the engine evaluates this as zeros, but I would be much more comfortable with black, to be completely honest. White's king in the long term doesn't have a lot of prospects, and black has a lot of coordination right now, and not really, the king side isn't really like weak for black. So that being the case, and the game itself, Shabalov went on to win the game in 2001. Carlsen played knight b3 though, and this had actually been played once before in the Lichess database, but bishop b6, that was a novelty. I couldn't find where that was played anywhere else. And already when I saw this position, I'm like, great, another fun-filled day for the chess fans of where we have a super solid position. And credit to Caruana with showing how to just draw with black on demand against the world champion. I think that's a solid skill. I mean, I don't ever fault the player with black for going into drawish continuations because, you're trying to hold with black, win with white, and win the title. So, or retain the title in Magnus's case. So, bishop e2, queen e7, pins and stuff. And the game fizzles pretty quickly here. When you start seeing your dark square bishop move like 3 times in 5 moves, you already know that the maneuvering phase of the game has begun. And I mean, really the only thing that was holding black's position back was the bad bishop on c8. But after this maneuver, all the pieces are clean, easily developed, and we're just gradually just clipping pieces. And as both players can agree to a draw before move 30, we've seen this in a number of their games so far where they just start massive exchanges. And at this point, Carlsen goes for the knight versus bishop ending. And this is where I quit watching the game to go do a lesson. But then when I came back, I wasn't surprised to see they'd drawn only a few moves later. f6, f4, and really there's no good way to try to make progress here, and they figured out a way to draw. I mean, honestly, players at their level, don't expect them to see them play out this type of position. I really hope in Game 8, Caruana is able to use this white. I want to see him hit him. I want to see him hit Magnus. That would be awesome. Thanks for watching.